So the Orlando Magic head into this regular season with some expectations. And I've been saying over the last two seasons, the Magic are on the rise. Now, I understand they finished 41 and 41 last season, but if you were taking a closer look at the Magic, they didn't have Paulo Banchero after I believe it was 2 or 3 games. He had that oblique situation. And then Franz Wagner had a similar injury and they lost Jalen Suggs. They lost Wagner, who is Francis' brother. And the Magic never got in a rhythm together with their entire roster. But what did they do this offseason? They went and picked up Desmond Bain, which I thought was a good move. Given the disappointment of KCP, I didn't mind that move because last year I said that was a good pickup. He just fell off a cliff with shooting from three. Was he a great defender? Yes, but when it came to spacing and delivering shots when he's wide open, it didn't happen most of the time. So what did they do? They went out and tweaked the roster, which I like that from Orlando because you're showing your fans we've got Paolo, we've got Franz. We know those two guys are only going to get better. And we expect Paolo to potentially be a top 5 player in the NBA. I think that's his ceiling, in my opinion. So you have all those factors going on. Bataze looked really good. Even this European run he's on in Eurobasketball, he's averaging 19.7 rebounds, shooting 46.7% on his 3-point shots. So we'll see if that translates into the NBA. But Batazi as a big man is really good already. I'm not worried about his offensive production. I'm really just focused on him being a productive rotational player for the Magic. That is the bigger win. And then you have Franz Wagner in the same tournament, averaging 21 points, 4.8 rebounds, 3.8 assists. It is good because you're getting some experience. And for the Magic this season, it's going to come down to health. Obviously, that's the biggest thing is your best guys staying healthy and building that chemistry. Now, if you have the Knicks and the Cavs over them, not mad at you for that. Really not, because again, these two teams have more experience. They have made those playoff runs. But we just saw the Thunder make the semifinals as a young basketball team, come back and win the championship. I'm not saying the Magic will win the finals, but we can't be surprised if this Magic team ends up going to the NBA finals because they have talent. They have two young stars or superstars on this team. You could argue Franz is more like a star player, or if you want to say superstar, it's fine. But guys who are still hungry, out to prove something, and that defense is hellacious. They can really lock people down. And Mosley has this team always playing hard. That's what I loved about the Magic last year. Even when they were going through the adversity, the injuries, the coach held his team accountable and they responded to him. So they love playing for him. That's a good sign going forward. And even though they lost in 5 to the Celtics, a lot of it was just like sluggish offense. Defensively, they gave Boston some problems. And I think that can translate to this season. So for me, I'm hoping that the Magic can obviously get off to a good start. Paulo was hot to start the season. The man was cooking. He was looking like an early top 5 MVP candidate. That's how good he was playing. If he can get to that level and the defense is humming, the offense is not terrible, but just good. I don't think the Magic need to be this like offense where they're unstoppable. Just be respectable. If they get to that level, the Magic would be really good. I'm telling you, they'd be scary good. And I won't be surprised if they get past this 50-win mark. Like, I could see them easily winning 60-plus games. That might sound crazy, but the Eastern Conference is so weak and they've got the talent. They're just young. You're just waiting for that leap because you see young teams all the time who've got potential, who've got budding superstars, and then they take that next step and they're just dominating everybody. And for the Cavaliers, there's a lot of pressure on them this season because they are going into the second apron and they have to decide, do you want to stay there after this regular season if we have another fallout in the playoffs? And the New York Knicks, they're expected to get to the finals. I have them in the NBA finals because they got to the Eastern Conference Finals. I like their roster. I like who they picked up as a coach. I like the bench pieces they added to have more depth. And I think, in my opinion, they just got to monitor Mitchell Robinson. And if he can't stay healthy or you want to upgrade that position, you get a younger, healthier center, I'm okay with that. So the Knicks are in a good spot. And for the Magic, man, they're going to be playing with house money. People aren't picking them to make the finals, but they should feel really good about making a deep playoff run. They should feel like, man, we can take that next step. We've got the talent here. Desmond Bane's a vet, and I like this roster a lot. I'm a big fan of, what this team can do. Obviously, the biggest thing when it comes to the Magic is just the shooting. You expect Franz or Paolo to shoot better from three. I don't need them at like 40%. I just need Franz at like 34, 35% and Paulo at 37. If that happens, look out. And Jalen Suggs, he shot better. I think it's like over 40% the year before. I expect that to return to form. I don't think he's going to have this much of a drop off. So I see him around that 38% range. So I think the shooting will be fine with him. And then Anthony Black, do you keep him on this roster? Because I love his defense, but you want to see some type of leap on offense. And if that happens, man, Magic are just going to be hard to deal with because they got the athletes. People forget this team is athletic. They can really swarm you on defense and make it really tough on their opponents to get clean looks at the basket. If you want to pick the Magic to go to the NBA Finals, I'm not against it. I'm all for the Magic. I love this team. I'm expecting them at some point to be the number one seed in the Eastern Conference within the next 2 to 3 seasons and to make the NBA Finals and to win a championship. Because I love the roster they're building around Paulo and Franz. I love Jalen Suggs' leadership. They just need more playoff experience at this point. That's just my personal opinion because everybody goes through that journey. We just saw with the Boston Celtics. They put a team around Tatum and Brown, but they had to tinker with that rotation because they had Kyrie, they had Gordon Hayward. They moved off them. They rebuilt around Tatum and Brown. They had Marcus Smart. They had Robert Williams III, and they moved off them and brought in Kristaps and Drew Holiday, and then they got their championship. So this might not be the final version of the Magic because you're always trying to make improvements. They tried KCP. It didn't work out. So they decided, you know what, let's bring in Desmond Bane. I love the move. And he's going to add a different dimension and more scoring out there because in the playoffs, man, it was just Paulo and Franz trying to score. It was just ugly. Now, I understand that Mo Wagner wasn't there and that Jalen Suggs wasn't available either. Those are two huge losses. So having them in the playoffs will help their offense. And defensively, the Magic should be just fine. They're always at the top in defensive rating. I expect that to stay the same this year. It really just comes down to the offensive leap of Franz and Paulo. If they go out and take that leap, because we saw stretches of it. Like the beginning of the year, Paulo was looking, like I said, a top 5 MVP candidate. There's a stretch of games where Franz, when Paulo was out, was absolutely on a heater. If we see that consistently throughout the season, because it's going to happen, I expect this to eventually take place, whether it's next season or the season after. The Magic are going to be the best team in the Eastern Conference. There's no doubt about it. It's just a matter of when and if it's going to happen this season or down the road. Doesn't mean it's a bad basketball team. I'm not disrespecting the Magic. It's just setting the proper expectations with this team. And Magic fans, you guys should be excited. It's fun seeing Orlando be good again. And I like what the organization is doing, trying to make improvements. Last season, they tried to, improve it by adding KCP. It didn't work out. And they said, let's go out and get a shooting guard who's a more reliable scorer. And I like what they did. It's a good pickup. And I think going forward, the Magic will be just fine. I know people argue, well, you gave up a lot. That's what happens in the NBA. You got to give up draft picks and give up other pieces to improve your roster. That's what Brad Stevens did to put together that amazing 7-man rotation they had out there last season. They were just unstoppable because Stevens traded draft capital and role players to get the Celtics a championship. You could say they gave up a lot, but they got the job done. That's what matters at the end of the day. So as long as the Magic are constantly trying to improve and looking to build around their core pieces, which in my opinion is Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero, and Jalen Suggs. Those are the guys you want to build around. And I like Patazzi. I like the other role players. Even Jonathan Isaac. Like if he gave you 15, 20 minutes of just playing really good defense and making it frustrating for a period or a stretch in a game where you're holding down one of their star players. Doesn't have to be perfect, but just bother them. You just have a different look. So I like where they're heading. I think this could be a really good season for the Magic. I expect them to be third in the Eastern Conference. I'd be shocked if they're not because the East is not that good. But I would not be surprised if the Magic end up in the NBA Finals. It would not surprise me whatsoever because I see the potential. I see the ceiling. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen. Hope you guys enjoyed this video today. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the expectations of the Magic this upcoming season. What are you excited about as Magic fans? What do you expect out of Paulo and Franz? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.